And just like that, another season's upon us. No, it's been a long, long off season. I was thinking to myself, like, so we of course had maybe people that are listening to this don't know we had our second child 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago to the day, I think. So it's just like it's pretty monotonous those first few weeks where it's the same like this, you feed the baby, burp the baby, change the baby sleeps for a little bit, and then you're back to it. And my wife was like, "Oh, it feels like Groundhog Day." And there's that scene in Groundhog Day where he's like, "What if you did the same thing over and over again and nothing had any meaning?" And the one guy's like, "That pretty much sums it up for me." Like, and I just feel like, oh, that sums up the college football off season for me. Like, just the doldrums. Yeah. So pumped to be back. Of course, thrilled to have another addition in our house, but just using that as a comparison to me and any typical offseason, just me waiting for the season to start. Man, let's get into it. Season, maybe preview predictions. We'll go through the top Power 4 conferences. We'll maybe detail out who we think maybe makes the playoff. Heisman predictions. Let's just get on the record again. I can't remember. I should have dug up what we did last year. We're not great at this. I don't think we have a great track record, but it's fun to try. Yeah. All right. Alphabetical?
Sure.
Okay. Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, so, I mean, last year you had Clemson and SMU that kind of ended up on top. I think this year, by far, I don't know how you have anybody but Clemson be the favorite. Another year of Cade Klubnik working in that same offense, getting used to the things that they need to. And, I mean, they kind of beat themselves up a few games last year. And then SMU, I don't know if I expect SMU to be the same SMU it was. They're losing a bit, but also I think there's a number of questions in this conference. Can Miami actually
break through? Yeah.
I mean, it's been 23 years and they've made one ACC title game, I think. Yeah, like, I don't know. So if I'm going to make my picks on who would win the conference or who's going to be in the conference, I'm definitely choosing Clemson to win the conference. And then I'm going to pick a surprise. I'm going to pick Florida State to actually play them. I know you are down on Florida State. I think Norvell knows what he has. Now it's a matter of if they don't get injured and they can compete. And they have the talent that they should beat most ACC teams, frankly. So I know that's a surprise to you. We didn't pick them in the draft. We picked Louisville. We picked Clemson. We picked Miami. We picked SMU. But I'm picking Florida State.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think closer to the season, I feel a little bit more bullish on what FSU can be, or bullish relative to the competition that they're going to face. Because
yes,
that's probably the better way of wording it. But I'm interested. I think it boils down to about 4 or 5 teams, and you hit the nail on the head. I do think there's maybe an outside chance that SMU or Louisville kind of jumping up. I don't, to me, it's like, don't outthink the room. Clemson's the best team. They have now, with Tom Allen coming as defensive coordinator, I think they have the best 2 coordinators in the conference.
Yeah.
Garrett Riley doing the offense. Dabo being the lead cheerleader.
The transfer or the coach from Penn State.
So Penn State, he went to Clemson. Yeah. Ohio State's defense coordinator went to Penn State, and then Matt Patricia is now the defensive coordinator at Ohio State, which is fascinating.
Odd little thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm right there with you. I won't outthink the room. My pick is Clemson. I'm interested to see what Louisville does. I'm interested to see what SMU does. Miami, like, I can talk myself into why they
should. By all means, Miami should be the pick.
Yeah, and I think they were my pick last year, if I remember correctly. I think they were my pick.
They're a talented team, but until they do it, I can't pick them.
I'm in wait-and-see mode as well. I think the biggest thing that I keep telling myself is, like, man, they had the number 1 overall draft pick at QB last year and still had to pull out 2 nail-biters. And that's and they pulled off a couple others. They won a couple other squeakers, but they lost to Syracuse, they lost to Georgia Tech, and needed some real magic to beat Cal. Needed some real magic to beat Virginia Tech, and an overturned Hail Mary at the very end, which I don't know about that being overturned. Again, if it was called on the field incomplete, I wouldn't have overturned either. But it's just like I don't know how you could say there's definitive evidence that he didn't catch it, but
Yeah.
And it's like they get worse. Like I do think they get worse. I don't think they get better. I think the
You think
defense might.
Miami is worse than they are last year?
Yes.
Hmm. I don't know if I think that is. I mean, I know they lost all their receivers and they replaced their receivers. I don't think Cam is a better quarterback overall than Carson.
I would disagree.
But
if anything, if nothing else,
Cam,
the legs just make it different. I think
yeah,
Carson
like,
Beck can't really move, so it's like, all right, whatever, all the wizardry that Cam had to pull out last year, you won't get the same amount from Carson.
And that's what I'm sitting there saying. Like, I think Cam could move, and that was the bonus. But like, ball for ball, I'm not sure he's better than Beck, a healthy Beck at least.
Fair. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think just kind of total package. I think they get worse at QB. You replace a ton of the receiving production.
The defensive backs.
Yeah, and that one I think is like that's maybe a net positive. That's maybe an addition by subtraction, but like all the same, like I think that it's way too much uncertainty. I mean, and
I feel like that offensive line should be amazing.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think you can really hang your hat on. The defensive line I think also will be pretty good. Like pretty good being not like they'll be one of the best in the ACC. Let's put it that way.
They have potential to be breakout, like incredible, because you've got insane talent there. It's just a matter, can that talent rise to the expectations? Because it hasn't so far.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are the ones. I think it's Clemson. I'm not going to outthink the room here. Did you have any other like, hey, keep an eye on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech is my keep an eye on team.
Oh.
You have Haynes King again this year, and that team just plays hard under who's the coach? Wow.
I can see him, but I can't remember his name right now. Brent Key. There it is.
There you go, Brent Key. Yeah. They just got that hard nosed mentality. So give me like watch them. Watch how they do. So.
Yeah. I like that one too. Another one that's not. I'm not predicting this for the championship, but I think this team might surprise some people. I know that there was the exodus, like, and maybe this is more 2026 and 2027. But keep an eye on the Cal Bears if they're able to keep this coaching staff the way it is and keep recruiting the way they are. Like, I like a lot of pieces of their coaching staff. Like, you have Brian Harsin as your offensive coordinator. You got Nick Rolovich as an offensive analyst. Those are two former head coaches that have won and had to do more with less sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
you're starting the 5-star freshman,
right?
Yeah, Brian Harsin was at Boise State. Rolovich won at Hawaii, and then won at Hawaii, and then was at Washington State, and then got fired for not taking the COVID vax. Which I don't want to like revisionist history here, but like looking back on that, that's wild. Like, Anyway. We'll leave that alone. We'll leave the politics and some of the things aside. I just think about that one, looking at that one with the benefit of some history, and it's like, oh my goodness.
The other thing that I would watch is Miller Moss and how he works with Louisville as a quarterback.
Yeah, especially with.
I was a big fan of him over at USC. He made some risky plays. If you can get him not to make the risky plays, he has an arm and he can move the team.
I think he's got the benefit of a better offensive line. And a better ground game. Just like they will be able to run the football much better. Isaac Brown, their running back, is really good. Was a 1,000-yard running back as a true freshman last year, if memory serves. And that makes the quarterback's job easier. And of course, Jeff Brom and the brain trust there on offense is going to be good. So anyway, that's enough on the ACC. Probably went in circles a little bit there. Big 12. I guess is the next in line, or Big 10 if you're going alphabetically. Big 10, huh?
That's fine. Do you want to give us your thoughts on it first?
Sorry, what?
You want to give us your thoughts on it first?
Yes, Big 10. Is that where we're going? Okay. So this one boils down to me. This one's maybe the most boring as far as the actual like conference race, like who's at the top of it. I think it's absolutely fascinating from spots 4 through like 12. Like, I have trouble separating out Iowa from Indiana from from Nebraska, from Michigan, from Washington. There's a lot. USC's right in there. Yeah, perfect example. Like there's a bunch in the middle there that I'm really fascinated to see how that shakes out. The top, I'm
It's a
not gonna.
three-dog race right now, right?
What?
It's a three-dog race.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And for me, I got to see it to believe it with Penn State. So like for me, go ahead.
That's my thing. It's like you have so many questions even across the top of those three. It's like you're breaking in a new quarterback in Julian Sayin for Ohio State. You're breaking in a new quarterback potentially. I don't know if they've even announced it yet for Oregon. But
I
what's
don't
the
think they
name?
have. Austin
They haven't
Novosad
officially.
and Dante Moore are the two that
Yeah,
are.
I think the assumption is Dante Moore's going to start.
Yeah,
But
I think that's the.
yeah, but I mean, he couldn't break the depth chart over at was it USC?
UCLA is where he started. He did
UCLA.
start there, but he struggled and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
got benched at some point.
yeah. So we'll see what happens there, and then Penn State. Like I've made it known that I'm not a believer in their quarterback. That I don't feel like he can win you games. Now the rest of his entire team gets a lot better and stronger, and you return the running backs, which were phenomenal in the playoffs. But you lose your tight end, and like 60-something% of his balls went to his tight end. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
yeah, and they do think that they have better receivers to help sort of complement what they
Yeah, you get
what they
better
had in the
all around.
backfield and what they missed. So I I want to believe it, and it's interesting to me that the Ohio State defensive coordinator, goodness,
Left. Yeah.
Jim Knowles, left and went to Penn State. I don't like that one's a fascinating move to me. So
That's like that's a lateral move to not a rival,
does
but
he have ties in the Pennsylvania area?
I think it's family stuff. That's
I
what I
can't
remember
remember
reading.
if he does. I think that might be some of it. So like, okay, maybe give him that, but I don't know. So I actually am counting out Penn State. The one thing that I will give them is they have Oregon on the schedule at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Penn State to be in the title game because I think they probably clip Oregon. But I would much rather pick Oregon or Ohio State to actually win the Big Ten. And again, Ohio State, you have the best two players on both sides of the ball, or
Yeah.
the best player on both sides of the ball, the best defensive player in Caleb Downs, and the best offensive player in Jeremiah Smith. So that's my pick. I'm kind of thinking. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering. One's a sophomore, or one's a. Are they both true sophomores? No.
No,
One's a.
Downs will be draft eligible after this year.
Okay.
He
I was
was
like,
a sophomore last year and will be a senior or be
I
a
was,
junior this year.
yeah, I was just wondering if they both come out. Like, would we see that? Because I do believe that those are the best two college football players. Like, period.
Yeah.
So,
So
so you have Ohio State.
yeah, I'm picking Ohio State. Like I'm not gonna outthink the rest. I know it's boring, but I think the sleeper. This one's like a boomer bust pick, and it's why I kind of thought about them in the draft, but opted not to. But Nebraska, I think they're going to have to win shootouts. I think, but they may have the offensive firepower to do it. If Dylan Raiola takes a step in year two, I'm excited about that. I also, goodness, let me get their depth chart in front of me because I'm going to get the name wrong. Because I'm going to forget it.
Which team?
Nebraska. Give me just a second. I'll get it in front of me. But they've overhauled that wide receiver room, and that's one of the things that I think is going to be most key to them. Really, Dana Holgerson, I like as a play caller. So they got Dane Key from Kentucky. The one that I think is no one's talking about that they will be by the end of the year is the Neziah Hunter from Cal. Did you see that guy last year?
I did not.
Okay,
I don't
500 or
recall.
600 yards receiving as a true freshman at Cal was, I think, their second leading receiver as a true freshman. I was really excited about Cal with him there. And then he obviously left along with basically the rest of their team, or at least the rest of some of the offensive skill. But I think that they're going to be able to put up points. We just need to see them be able to. I think they're going to have to outscore a lot of teams. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Well, if you're going to me, I agree with you in the sentiment that it's a 3-person or 3-team race. It's kind of muddy. I am excited to see what happens with Nebraska. I'm also intrigued to see what happens with Michigan. Just in the fact that like you've got this fine, you've got additional suspensions for Sharon Moore potentially. And then, how does Bryce Underwood do? Like, is he? I mean, with the line that you're seeing, it's like 8.5 wins. Like, he must be amazing if they expect to get 8.5 wins. I know they got the talent, but I think that seems a bit high. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Honestly, I'm also interested to see Indiana. Can they repeat the success that they had from last year? I mean, they were 8-1 in the conference last year. I think, like, who would have ever thought that?
Yeah.
And my thought process is, I think this comes down to Oregon, Penn State, and maybe even a rematch if we have that. I just think Penn State has the most reliable pieces. Like, you can hand the ball off against anybody on these teams, and your defense is good enough to keep you in any game. It's just a matter of can you win? And you're not relying on Julian Sand, you're not relying on Dante Moore. You've got a good chance, I think. So I'm picking Penn State over Oregon.
All right. Rematch would be fun. See if Oregon maybe fares a little bit better in a rematch with a Big Ten team in the postseason this year as opposed to last year. But looking forward to that one. I think I covered everything I wanted to say in the Big Ten. Anything else from you?
No, I'm good.
All right. Big 12 footbget Big 12
This is where
after
you and I
dark.
will not see eye to eye at all.
We
I
won't.
guarantee
We
you.
won't. It's all right. So let's get it started.
All right. I'll start.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you want me to start bashing where you stand, or just stay where I stand?
Why don't you stay where you stand? Like, at least let me make my case first.
All right.
Like,
I think Arizona State was a great team last year, but I don't think you're replacing Cam Scatterbo and the reliance that you had on Cam Scatterbo to cover and to keep you in games. I look at teams from last year, BYU. I flirted with disaster in quite a few games, and I still think that they are better in all respects. I don't think this drop down is that far from with Bear Bachmeier. I'm looking at teams like Iowa State potentially take a step back. Baylor won the last 6 games of the season until they were started off 2-4 and by the end of the season were 8-4. They lost in a bowl game to LSU, but I'm interested there. I'm interested to see Kansas. If you have a healthy quarterback this year, like, can they be what they potentially be? And then lastly, Utah. Oh, I didn't even talk about Kansas State, but Utah, I know you probably don't think it's a fluke, or you thought it was a fluke from last year or some injury things. I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's just a matter of that team starting to take a turn downhill. So my thought process in my head is I'm between Texas Tech, Baylor, and BYU as the team front runners. I know Kansas State and Iowa State I'd have in there as well. I think I'm gonna go with Baylor. I just think that team is talented. I think they figured out how to win. They won. They looked very good the last 6 games of the season. And I'm trying to pull this up real quick. Got some information on there. Let's see.
and my internet cut out real quick when you said stuff about Arizona State. So what was the ramification thought process?
I don't think you can replace the reliance that you had on Cam Scatterbo, is what I said. But
Okay.
Sawyer Robertson is a senior. He threw for 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 3,000 yards. His QBR was 82.9. This dude played well. I mean, if you look at his rating last year, based on the quarterback rating, it's a 153. He's going to put them in games and put them in an opportunity. And Dave Aranda has talked about this is a great team.
He said it's his most talented team since he's been there. And they won the Big 12 championship in 21. So
yeah, and we're going to see him against Auburn to start this year off.
Yep.
So I think I'm leaning Baylor over anybody, but I'll go Baylor over BYU. They get it there.
Yeah, BYU. I was gonna say there's a bear on the loose up here in Utah.
Yep.
That's really exciting, just because it's first ever true freshman to start the opener at BYU. Yeah. That's never happened before.
And he wears number 47, which is kind of so funny and weird.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the days of 47.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought about.
Yeah, everyone's making that joke, but 1847 is when kind of the Utah territory was settled, I believe. And so there's just jokes about that. But I am fascinated to see what that looks like, and yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think I said this maybe on the draft pod, which again, for our listeners, that will drop sometime in the next week or two as well. It was recorded a few days ago. But yeah, fascinated to see what that looks like. I do think the team around him is quite good. So that's where it's like you won't have to ask him to do everything all at once. And
Mhm.
especially with the start to the season where you host Portland State, host Stanford, and then are on the road at ECU, you sort of get this slow ramp up in competition where he'll have an opportunity to get his feet wet, get some live reps against a competing team, like rather than your own team, which again, sometimes when the defense knows all the plays, it maybe isn't super fair, but to be able to see it uh, live action against an opponent will be instructive. So we'll see how that goes with the next couple of games for BYU. So that's an interesting pick. Again, with the schedule, I can
Yeah,
see it. You got to play really good defense, and I think they will. Like,
I don't think they'll have the type of interception luck that they had and turnover luck that they had the year before, but they did have some unlucky breaks too, where like a ball bounces weird on a punt against Kansas, and
yeah,
like
basically cost them the game.
yeah, it's kind of weird because they had some lucky breaks and they had some unlucky breaks that kind of were almost in the same
Yeah,
sphere.
all
I
in
don't
all, they even out.
well. I honestly think like there's 5 teams that if you 5 or 6 teams, if you said hey they won, I'd be like not surprised. I mean Texas Tech spent the most money on the transfer. Baylor's got their most talented group. You believe Utah can get back to form. There's a chance that BYU can continue to build on what they've done. Iowa State is Iowa State. Like you're always going to get a great team with them. And so it's like, I mean, and then you had Arizona State kind of come out of nowhere last year. Honestly, like, and then we haven't even talked about how a lot of people think about is one of the favorites is in Kansas State as well. And if Avery Johnson can live up to the billing that he has, I don't believe necessarily he will, but
Yeah, I'm a little bit down on them too. I think it actually boils down to I agree that there is like maybe wider variance in this league. I'm really disappointed, and I've said this probably ad nauseum on the podcast over the kind of off season episodes. I'm annoyed that there's not enough opportunities for this Big 12 to like measure up against other conferences and play
yes.
because, like you said, I think Baylor's going to be pretty good. I'm glad that they play an SEC opponent. Maybe not the top flight SEC opponent in Auburn, but we'll see. Um,
But if
I,
you look
I
at Auburn had a hard year last year, but they didn't lose a game by more than 10 points, except for their final game. Like they were in every single game,
yeah,
even
yeah.
with
So that's a competent, competitive SEC bunch, but maybe not like top tier in terms of like coming out on top on all of them. But
yeah.
they were, like you said, they were game. They held tough with a lot of really good opponents. So I just wish there was more opportunities for this Big 12 to show how it measures against the other Power 4 conferences. There's just not many opportunities. I think this boils down to one of 3 teams. I am kind of between Texas Tech, Arizona State, and Utah. Arizona State, I know that they lose Camp Scatteraboo and not only the production on the field, which was astronomical, but also kind of just the attitude that he brought that kind of, I think, permeated that team. That part, I
Mhm.
think, is the part I'm more interested to see if they can replace. Just because I think Kanye Udo, the running back they got from Army, and then the backup running back whose name I'm not remembering right now, from from Arizona State, who was the backup to Scatteraboo last year, was pretty effective. He was pretty good in his own right. So I want to give
Malik
him,
Brown.
yeah.
Is that
Oh, Raleek Brown, but there's also another. Who else is on that?
There's Tyson
Raleek
Brown. I'm
Brown's
trying
kind
to
of. Hang on a second. I've got it. I'll get it. Um,
look.
yeah, Raleek Brown's kind of the nice like gadget player, but from the running back room, I'm specifically Kyson Brown. Yeah, you said it. Okay, so Kyson Brown, I felt like played pretty well in that. So you've
Yeah,
got like a good rotation there that I think no one's going to have to really be the guy. You have a lot of returning production both on offense and I think a little bit more help on the outside um, with adding in Jalen Moss and adding in goodness. Yeah, Jalen Moss is the transfer from uh, oh goodness, the transfer from Fresno, and then they also have Jordan Tyson's back. Of course, Malik McClain is back. Is it Hamilton? There was one I was reading about from Yeah, from Bama. Okay, Jaron Hamilton. They seem to be pretty excited about what he can do. So he didn't really crack the lineup at Bama, but that, and it's just like a lot of returning production on the defense. If you look at how many of those guys are back from last year,
Mhm.
here the assumed depth chart on our lads is senior, junior, senior, 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 junior, senior, senior, junior, senior, and only one of those. Many of them are transfers, but only one of them is a brand new transfer, like new to the program this year. So that's really interesting. I'm bullish on Utah, and I'm bullish on them for a couple of reasons. I think they have a top 3 or 4 offensive line in the country. You combine that with a really mobile quarterback and a really good running back in Wayshawn Parker, who I liked watching at Washington State last year. Washington State was on my draft team. They probably should have won 10 or 11 games. I was tearing my hair out looking at some of the things that they let slip through the cracks last year. But they were productive in their own right, kind of in those different scenarios that they're in. Now they come in with a much better supporting cast in terms of the offensive line. I am worried about the receivers. Uh, we'll see what kind of production they get there, but I think they're going to run to throw, and I think that takes some of the pressures off of the receivers when you've got a mobile quarterback, a really powerful offensive line, a really good running back, and talented. I think they probably are 2 or 3 deep at running back, but Wayshawn Parker I think is probably the bell cow there. I just don't think you're going to need as much. And I don't see that many teams on their schedule where it's like, oh, well, they got the horses to stop this running game like dead in its tracks. Like maybe Arizona State. The reason I give the edge to Utah is because they get Arizona State at home. So that one is one I could see a rematch there. But yeah, this one is a little bit more wide open. But to me, when I was making my picks, it kind of boiled down to those 3. And I guess my faith is biggest in Coach Whittingham if it really is his last ride. And it feels like
Wasn't last year supposed to be
it
his
felt like
last
well,
drive?
yeah, I think he just was like, I can't go on that note. I will say, to your point, like, you think that this is like kind of, hey, this is sort of the new normal for Utah. If they do struggle again this year, I think Witt doesn't get that. I mean, I'm sure he would have the option to come back. I don't think he would. I think he would just say, okay, I'm done. And then that's going to be an uphill battle for that new coaching staff to take over, where it's like, okay, you've kind of lost the luster of 2 straight Pac-12 titles, and you've gone to this new conference, and it feels like things are maybe trending in the wrong direction. Couple that with a lot of personnel losses that I'm anticipating at the end of this year, and things might get really interesting going forward for Utah, and not in
What
a
I
good way if you're a Ute fan.
Yeah, the only way you turn that around is you can make a pretty big splash hire potentially.
Well,
That
it's they already have, so it's Morgan Scalley. It's the defensive coordinator. They've renamed him head coach in waiting.
see that's an issue right there. I think you're like I don't know, like that name doesn't draw recruits to it. That name doesn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna win." It's like, hey, we can maintain steadiness, and that's what Utah wants, is to maintain where they are or
Yeah,
were.
we'll see. We'll see. We've seen that where there's been a hand selected um, successor, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it fails miserably. So, and I'd say I'd have to go back and look, but I think of the 2 or 3 times that I can think of that's happened, I think more often than not it does not work. Like Mark
Yeah,
Helfrich taking over at Oregon after Chip Kelly stepped down didn't work. Now Chip Kelly did take like in that same Oregon, Mike Bellotti steps down, was kind of I think the best coach in Oregon football history. Chip Kelly steps in, really elevates the program, but then hands it off to his offense
yeah.
coordinator. Doesn't work the same. Other examples of that off the top of my head.
I'd say Ohio State worked okay with Ryan Day. I don't know if that was like he was brewing for it, but you kind of handed the keys over to him. And
Yeah,
then it worked. It worked okay for Florida State for a little bit until it fell apart.
they won a national championship. I'd say they've been just as successful as Ryan Day has so far. Like,
Yeah, Ryan Day's
um,
won a title. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point that you say. Like, hey, if it doesn't go well for them this year, there could be a real turning of the tides. Both, I mean, if you look at like in-state recruiting, like BYU is loading up and Utah is a little bit behind the 8 ball.
well, even the
Um,
people that they were supposed to go to Tennessee, like
hey,
you
Rocky
know what I'm
Top's
talking
home
about.
sweet home to me.
the Alpine or the Lone Peak receiver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sodasimoa. Yeah.
yeah, that's frustrating.
Uh,
And they didn't even know about that. It was he switched it like the day of his commitment. Go, you
I
haven't
don't know
read that
all
story.
the I
That
don't know all
story's
the details
heartbreaking.
there, but
Yeah,
the it's that
go read that one. That one's
that
an interesting one.
okay.
You're in the dark quite a bit.
That's that's the game sometimes. It is not for the faint of heart, I think is what someone said. It's like recruiting, you will if you are a recruiter and on staff, I mean you could have someone say like right to your face, I'm coming, signed, sealed, delivered, and in 30 minutes that could change. Like
I mean, nobody knows it better than us Florida State fans with Travis.
whoo, whoo, yeah, rough. That was a rough day. I did not get a whole lot of work accomplished that day. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was mad. Anyway, all right, SEC. We'll try and keep this one short and sweet, or keep this whole episode short and sweet. So maybe we'll do SEC. I don't know if I'll give you like a full fledged playoff prediction, but I'll maybe just give you like, hey, here are the 2 or 3 I'm considering for the title, and then we'll do Heisman, and then we'll dip if that works.
Sounds good.
All right, I think it's my turn to go first, huh?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, Southeastern Conference schedule to me is important here. And I really like from a talent perspective, I think that there's 4 or 5 teams that I could get behind. Like,
Yeah, honestly, there might be like more that could surprise me
well,
too. Like,
and that's the thing is like you look at kind of the usual suspects: Bama, Georgia, Texas, right? That those ones are kind of like okay, of course they're going to be in there because they've been in the mix the last couple of years and have shown the capability of beating those really top tier teams. I I feel like Oklahoma is to me one of the bigger boom or bust teams. Like I feel
yep.
like that is either going to go swimmingly or it's going to go down in flames. And I don't know which. And that's why I kind of avoided them in our win totals draft and was a
Did you
little
see Bud Elliott
reticent
had
to.
them in his playoff predictions?
I mean, but they're also. I mean, okay, like, but also
Yeah,
like I think the other part of that is that I think they're an injury away from disaster. Like,
potentially, yeah.
yeah, if the QB goes down, what do you do? Like,
Yeah,
and I'm forgetting the
that's my
QB's
other.
name.
Is that John Mater?
Yeah, John Mateer. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think who else. So yeah. So who do you got? Give me your other thoughts on people, or do you want
Yeah.
me to go into other?
No, sorry. So other ones that I think could potentially jump up, like everyone talks about LSU. I don't know if I buy it. I'm kind of in this like I need to see it with Brian Kelly in the SEC at this point
Brian
because he's
Kelly
had.
is the Mario of the SEC.
Well,
That's it.
I see. I don't even think he recruits all that well. Like I think they've done okay, but like he's had look at it the last couple of years. He had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who also is lighting the NFL on fire and couldn't get it done with him and 2 first-round draft picks at receiver and 2 first-round draft picks at tackle. Like I don't know if you can't do it.
Well,
Then
let's be
what are
real.
we doing
The
here?
offense wasn't the problem that year. It was the defense. The only team that shut down LSU was Florida State in like at the end of that game, right? Like at the end of the game. Everybody else, LSU scored freely on. They just got scored on more.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, then you're asking me to trust that the offense is close to on par with what it's been, but
No.
also the defense gets better. And I just don't see it. I think that I don't know. There are some people that feel really confident about LSU this year, and I'm not there with them. I think they've got potential to jump up. As far as my choice goes, I'm going with Bama. I am counting on the year 2 bump for Kalen DeBoer. I think that there's just a lot going in their favor. You know, it's year 2. They're finally settling into this new system. They haven't had a whole lot of defections via the transfer portal. They're still recruiting and bringing in lots of really talented players. And I think that he's got the right weaponry on the outside to make it really, really difficult to defend and some really good running backs. I know that Jam Miller just got injured the other day. So, but I think they're deep enough there to absorb that loss. I like their offensive line. The defense wasn't great last year, but again, you have talented pieces, and it's the second year in the system. I think they get better. I don't know how much better, but at least some. And that says they're right in contention. Give me Bama. I know it's boring, but I think that's who wins it.
No, I mean Kalen DeBoer's lost 1 game, maybe 2 games every second year he's been at a place. Like he does not. He starts to put. This is when we see the ship get righted on everywhere he's at. and I think you're right. He has the tools. Looking at the SEC, honestly, like I go teams that I'd be surprised if they're there: Mississippi State, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Missouri. Like any other team, if you said they're there, I'd be like, okay, I could see it. Like, I mean, Auburn, I don't expect it. I don't expect it out of Tennessee. I don't expect it
South
out of South
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked because the talent level is. I think this is where we start to see like this is the closest we've seen the talent level in the SEC be like the same across everybody's teams a little bit more.
Yeah, since like the late 2000s, like
yeah,
where it's like okay, someone from the SEC is winning the championship, but it's a different team every year.
Yeah, and like honestly, I mean Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma. What does Auburn do? What do those 5-star receivers end up doing? Does Florida start to put together with DJ Lagway 100%, and all of a sudden they become insanely impossible? Was it the quarterback at Tennessee, Joey Aguilar? Is that his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, does he? I mean, he shined at a lower level. Does he continue to bring that up at the SEC level? Probably not. But like, you never know. We've seen quarterbacks or something like that, and then does LSU finally put it together? There's so many like conundrums. So I'd be able to like throw a dart on the dartboard and pick. Yeah, I don't think I drafted Texas. I think I picked Georgia, but give me Texas and Georgia to play for the title, and give me Texas.
So again, a rematch in that one too.
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll wrap up the conference predictions there. Do you have anything for the playoff? I really kind of.
So I think playoffs are interesting because what you have to do is have a solid team that sometimes either gels really well at the end. We saw that with Notre Dame and Ohio State, or a team that like can go through people and weather the effects of injuries because they have an opportunity. So I think that does limit where you end up, like or even with like teams that are experienced. So I think that lends you like in my head it's like you've got Clemson, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Like those are the only people I think I reasonably pick for a title. Sorry, I don't have anybody in the Big 12, but those are the 8 I would go with. That would say if anybody wins, I would be surprised. And I'm gonna make a crazy prediction. And you want me to give you who I think wins it?
Lay it on me.
My crazy prediction is Clemson pulls this thing together, rights the ship, and runs through the playoffs and wins.
Wow.
Which would blow me away because the ACC isn't nearly as talented as the SEC and the Big Ten. But that Clemson team, that Clemson defensive line, the defense, they didn't lose a lot of people. The offense had so many misfortunes last year that ended up beating themselves. Like I don't see it repeating, and I see Cade Klubnik taking that next step. So.
Yeah. They feel loaded for bear this year, right? Like I think that this is the year that like if it's going to happen again under Dabo Swinney, it's got to be this year.
Yes, it does.
So I see it from that perspective. I'm interested. I think you make an interesting point where you say like, hey, they've got the ACC schedule, and that might also afford them the opportunity. Like, hey, we won't sustain the same amount, potentially the same amount of injury as like say playing in the Big Ten or the SEC, where you've got more and more of those high caliber players concentrated in those two leagues. But and then it's like, okay, well, so we just need to make sure that we elevate our play kind of going into the postseason, that we're ready for that step up in competition.
But you also have the highest chance of, and correct me if I'm wrong, do we still have the buys, right? Is it for buys for conference champions?
I'm not sure. I think it might just be straight seeding. I don't think it's the conference champions ones. I can't remember.
But I think you have the highest chance of being undefeated out of anybody else. And so, like, you've got a good chance to be there.
Yeah.
Like, your hardest game is what?
LSU at home, yeah.
Yeah, South Carolina, because they always get you, but...
that one's on the road, too, and you lost to them at home last year, so, like, that one will be a real challenge, make no mistake. But, yeah, that's an interesting pick.
I'm just kidding.
Could be.
Because they lost to
Duke's always scrappy. I like that pick.
But if you picked any of those 8 teams, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think it was those 8 teams.
Yeah. And I don't think it's Ohio State. I don't think it's Penn State. I think it's probably an SEC flavor to me. So it's probably like a Texas, Bama, Georgia. I don't really trust Georgia. Texas to me is interesting because I feel like that's the expectation, but I'm not sure I see it across every part
Well,
of their lineup.
we just have so many good teams that are breaking in quarterbacks. You've got Bama's breaking in a new quarterback. Texas breaking in a new quarterback. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia's
Yeah,
breaking in a new quarterback. Like everybody's
and
breaking in a
that's
new
where like
quarterback,
Clemson and Penn State maybe shine and stand out as
and
different.
that's
Where it's
partially
like
why I
you know
like
who
them.
you've got them. Yeah,
Yeah,
mm. Yeah. I am interested to see what Arizona State does this year too. I mean, I'm splitting hairs in the Big 12, but like, I think despite how the end of that Texas game went, I think the fact that they punched back and forced overtime and had chances to win that game
yeah.
is interesting. Again, are they quite at the level of the others? Could they go through, say, a Texas and then an Oregon and then an Ohio State? Like in a mock playoff run, probably not. But I am interested. I do think they have an X factor at QB in Sam Levitt who leveled up, and I thought throughout the year you saw him get better and better and better. And now this year, I think he's going to be asked to do more, but I think he's capable of doing it. So that's an interesting sort of wild card team that I might have. Um, but I my pick, I'm betting on DeBoer. I think he gets over the hump.
I don't think it's a
Why
bad
not?
bet, to be
Um,
honest. So
and then we'll all get back to just absolutely. I mean, not that I ever stopped hating Bama, but like just being annoyed that they're once again the top of the mountain.
yeah, honestly, like DeBoer is just such a genius. I respect him a ton, and what you were able to do with Milrow, like even then, was impressive. So,
Heisman pick?
Cade, if it comes to
Yeah, I
wins,
was gonna
it's gonna
say
be Cade.
you probably have to give it to him. Um, I have no idea. I really don't. I would want to take a flyer on someone. Like if you were to like actually wager on this, like I think they've shown how like over history, like the favorites at the beginning almost never win the award.
Yeah.
So
So let me see let me pull it up and see who the DraftKings
or like
Heisman
the
finalists are.
futures, like the
Yeah.
odds are. So give me like the top 10, and I'll choose
All
someone
right.
outside of that top 10.
I'm just pulling up. All right. Arch Manning is favored
Okay,
with
that
plus
makes sense.
650.
Okay,
Then Garrett Nussmeyer with plus 850.
that's a
Oh,
second. That's interesting.
who I'm about to say in a little bit would be my second pick if it's not Cade. Cade Klubnik is third with plus 950. Jeremiah Smith plus 1100.
Oh
If
yeah,
he like, I think I might pick him just because I could see him doing like Devontae, what's his name? The
Smith.
Bama
Yeah,
quarterback guy.
yeah,
Yeah, Smith
Devontae Smith.
kind of thing. Drew Allers plus 1600. Sam Levitt plus 1800. Lenore Sellers also a possibility. Honestly, if South Carolina
I just think
rolls,
they're gonna lose too much. Yeah, like I don't
yeah.
doubt the player.
Carson Beck, Ty Simpson. These are all plus 1800, plus 2000. Julian Sayin, DJ Lagway, and then you get plus 2500. It's like John Mateer, Gunnar Stockton, Dante Moore, Arnold Jackson's on there, Ryan Williams. I mean, that could be an interesting one too. I mean, if Bama wins, Ryan Williams makes a lot of sense. Jeremiah Love, that's an interesting one at plus 4,000.
Ooh, and I love me some
CJ
Notre
Carr,
Dame.
yeah, CJ
CJ
Carr
Carr
of
might
Notre Dame.
not even be the starter. Like,
I think it got announced today that he is.
oh, did they?
For some reason, I thought I read that.
I'm not up to speed on any updates as of I think maybe 9 a.m.
Yeah,
this morning.
yeah, he got announced as starter 10 hours ago. So
Oh, okay, so missed that. Um, yeah, I'll go Jeremiah Love. I like that pick. I'm pretty bullish on Notre Dame and what they could do.
yeah, you
We
told me
didn't
that you
talk
were.
about them because they're not in the Power Four. They're an independent, but yeah,
But they make the playoffs, right? We 100% both believe they make the
yeah,
playoffs.
yes, absolutely. So if they make the playoff, and Jeremiah Love is if he's healthy. I think that's the biggest thing that holds him back is he's had some injuries. So
He's got to stop jumping. That's all.
that's true. Like man, especially on a bum knee, like don't do that. Like lose the battle, win the war. Like
Yeah, it's true. So
anyway. All right. Do you have anything else for us? I guess for our listeners, like just we'll probably release this and the draft one sort of back to back. I'll probably schedule them out like tonight to
yeah.
be released over the next couple of days.
My only last thing is like there are just so many interesting storylines, and I expect this year to be frank. I expect this year to be a crazy year. I don't think you have good front runners. I don't think you have a huge gap in talent. And so I expect crazy upsets. I expect messy conference races, and I expect us to have some crazy things happening towards the end. So
Gosh, I hope so. Give it to me. Make it 2007 where we're all trying to sort out who's what, and
Kansas
I'll
and
be a
Missouri
fan.
are ranked 1 and 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I was on my mission, and somebody invited us over to go like paint, so we were painting, and then they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have dinner. Somebody turn on the game," and it was like I think it was Kansas and Missouri playing it like, and they were both ranked the top like 5, and I was like, "What is going on? What am I watching?"
I remember there's the web design teacher, Coach Carmanos was a South Florida grad, and he was just over the moon that they were ranked 2. I think it was the highest they got ranked that year. He's like, "Oh my gosh, man, no way! You couldn't have told me 10 years ago that this would ever happen."
Like, yeah, and then there's so many interesting stories with new quarterbacks. You got Scott Frost back at UCF. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh yeah,
Like, there's so many things that I'm like excited to follow. So
Rich Rod's back at West Virginia. There's a couple of reunions that are. I think the honeymoons might be over on those pretty quick, but
I agree.
anyway.
Well, I don't think Scott Frost can generate that same magic at UCF.
Probably not. I don't know.
Bring an artificial title to your city.
Well, and then he betrayed them immediately the second he went to Nebraska. He's like, yeah, all that talk was like, after being sort of one of the people that was like leading it. I just like, I'm surprised they took him back a little bit. They're just kind of like, hey, this is the best we ever did. Why can't we try and run it back? I get it, but I disagree. Anyway, if there's nothing else from you, we'll wrap it there. Keep this one nice, short and sweet. Yeah, throughout the season, I'm not sure how many of these we'll do with changes in, in families. It might be a little bit more difficult for us too. But if you're enjoying this, and if you're one of our like 10 or 11 really loyal listeners, and you want to see it keep coming, message us, comment on it, let us know, and we can keep it rolling.
I told Heather I'm probably watching a lot of games on replay late at night, feeding a baby. So
we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can, right? But thanks everyone for the support. We'll catch you on the next one. Kansas State, Iowa State, Farmageddon, but across the pond in Ireland. Corey, break down the game for me. Who do you got? Who do you feel? I think Kansas is currently favored -3.
Dude, defense travels. Iowa State always has a good, solid defense. They aren't the Iowa, but they're always solid, good defense. And I don't believe in Avery Johnson. I think we kind of talked a little bit about this. Like, he's prone to flukes that will cost you the game. And give me Iowa State. I don't know. I have no idea what to think about these two teams right now. I think they're both Big 12 contenders. I do not think they're national championship contenders. But I think it'll be a fun game either way. And I'm just excited to see football, even if it is in Ireland.
Yes, pumped for it. Super excited that it's here. I see this game, like, I don't know how much I trust Iowa State. Kansas State, I think I know what they are, right? They're an 8-4 team, right? I agree with you with Avery Johnson. Turnovers were a challenge last year. Can he clean that up? The biggest thing for me is their advantage typically is speed with their running backs and with Avery Johnson. This field always plays slow. Have you noticed that? Like,
yeah.
Every time that I've seen one of the games played in Ireland, it's usually a little bit wet. People slip, they slide, and they're also it plays slower. So I think that plays in Iowa State's favor. My pick, like if I was to give a gambling pick on this, I'm going to say give me the under 49.5 total points.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's the play I feel best about. I do think Kansas State wins the game. It's a 3-point spread. So really, like, give me Kansas State. I'll choose Iowa State to cover. I think you get that push protection with it being at 3. If it's 3.5, I feel like Iowa State is the lean here.
I think it's like an Iowa State 24-17 kind of win.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Hard to argue with that one. So, like it. We'll see it. We'll watch it, and we'll discuss it next week. Thanks. Football is back.